everyone, how's it going? So I'm here for the All About the Reading tag. This tag was created by Miriam over at Between Lines and Life, and she also was the one who tagged me, so I'll leave a link to her video. Yeah, anyway, I don't really know how to describe this tag. It's just a bunch of questions about your reading life, basically. But anyway, the first question is actually a multiple choice question. What do you look for most when you pick up a book? A beautiful writing style, B, a character-driven story, or C, a plot-driven story. Now, what I decided to do was to give scores to each of these three options rather than picking one. Because you know, most readers, I think, probably look for a combination of all three, or a combination of two at least. And so I actually gave a beautiful writing style 7 out of 10, that is. Because, you know, I tend toward character-driven stories, but I also do like plot-driven stories. But as long as the plot-driven stories are also, you know, occupied by compelling characters, basically. So I gave beautiful writing style a 7, because I think probably if it's a beautiful writing style, the writer will hopefully also be doing a good job with their characters and with the plot. And then I gave a character-driven story 2, and then I gave a plot-driven story a 1. So, yeah. Anyway, number 2 is, what are your pet peeves in books? I don't have many, but one is stupid use of adjectives. I read this novel once. It was a self-published fantasy novel. I can't remember what it was called. I think it was called, like, The Queen's Poisoner or something. And I can't remember the author's name either, but my brother lent it to me. And he was raving about it. He said it was great, and I read it and just hated every page. It was just so poorly written. But one of the most annoying things was using adjectives strangely. So, especially when describing dialogue. So, there's this one scene where someone says something, and with their quotation marks around what they say, and then comma, she said conspiratorially. And I just wonder, what does it mean to speak conspiratorially? You know, it's kind of along with that showing rather than telling idea, I guess, but just that one part, that has stuck in my mind for some reason. But yeah, just poor use of adjectives. Anyway, number 3, if you could print one quote on your wall, which one would it be? And it's between 2 quotes for me. One that I might get printed on my wall would be "You only love when you love in vain," which is from a poem by Miroslav Holub. And the other one is "Death is the Mother of Beauty," which is from a Wallace Stevens poem. So one of those, very cheerful, I know. Number 4, which genre would you like to explore more? I would like to explore drama more. I went through a big Shakespeare phase last year, as you all know if you've been watching for any length of time. And I also last year read a bunch of plays by Sophocles and Aeschylus. I have actually now read all of the surviving plays of Sophocles and Aeschylus. And I just really like plays as a reading experience, and I also like that you can read them and then go watch a production of them. And that you can kind of have those two separate experiences. You can do that with novels too, of course, with movie adaptations, but not all novels have movie adaptations. And the voices of the actors really bring to life the story. So yeah, that was my answer. And to turn this into a bit of almost a tag / haul, I have actually been acquiring some drama. So the other day I was at a bookstore and I saw A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen for sale, and I grabbed it. Henrik Ibsen is one of the playwrights that my grandfather studied somewhat, I know. My grandfather was a professor of English, and his specialty was English and American drama. Mostly 20th century, so I guess Doll's House maybe he may not have studied as in depth, but I know he mentioned Henrik Ibsen several times while I was around him. Yeah, Henrik Ibsen. I have this book The Royal Hunt of the Sun by Peter Shaffer. The only thing I know about Peter Shaffer is that he wrote the play that the film Amadeus is based on. And Amadeus I've just seen for the first time, and I absolutely loved it. It's a biopic of Mozart for anyone who doesn't know. Yeah, this is about the Spanish conquistador whose name I can't remember, and South American king Atahualpa, and their interaction, I guess. Yeah, so there's that, and then I have other books that I got from my grandpa, actually. The first is Cat on a Hot Tin Roof and The Milk Train Doesn't Stop Here Anymore, both by Tennessee Williams. And then I have the complete works of Harold Pinter in 3 volumes. Yeah, if I actually don't know much about Harold Pinter, but he was someone my grandpa studied, and I'll see what I make of him. I may not end up reading all of this, but I may. So anyway, drama. I'm going to be exploring some more drama, hopefully, in the not-too-distant future. Number 5, is there ever a movie adaptation you liked better than the book? It's hard for me to come up with an answer to this question, because most of the movies I see that are based on books aren't books that I've read, actually. One that did come to mind was To Kill a Mockingbird. I do think that the film does a good job of kind of trimming the story of the novel down some. There are some extraneous stories in the novel that don't really need to be there, and some characters who don't really need to be there. And I like that about it, and I really like that film. And I love the novel To Kill a Mockingbird as well, but I think the film does a better job of kind of streamlining the story. Number 6, if one of your favorite books would be adapted or get a new adaptation, which book would it be, and which role would you like to play? I kind of like the idea of an adaptation of Samuel Beckett's play Endgame, and I would love the idea of playing Nag, who is a guy who sits in a trash can for the entire play. Because I have no acting ability, so sitting in a trash can for an entire play would be perfect for me. Number 7, a hyped book you wouldn't recommend at all. It's not that I wouldn't recommend it, but I definitely didn't like it very much, was A Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut. I actually like Kurt Vonnegut. I really enjoyed Slaughterhouse-Five, and his other novel, The Sirens of Titan, is one of my favorites ever. But A Cat's Cradle I just found extremely boring. Yeah, I didn't know what to make of it. It felt like it was less about people and characters and more about this idea that Kurt Vonnegut had. So it kind of bored me. Anyway, number 8, a book that highly influenced your life and way of thinking. I came up with 2 books for this. Thus Spoke Zarathustra by Friedrich Nietzsche and Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. They both influenced heavily my views on how to approach life and on religion, sort of. Especially Thus Spoke Zarathustra, and I don't want to go too much into that, but yeah, I think I've talked about Thus Spoke Zarathustra and Meditations quite a bit. So anyway, number 9, are you a fan of rereading books, and do you do it often? I wish I reread more than I do, because whenever I do reread a book, I really enjoy it. I've always been someone who has been very fond of comfort zones. I was that kid who, would just want to watch the same film over and over and over again, to the point where I would just have it memorized, basically. Or at least be able to kind of chant along with it as it went along. And so I've always been that person who likes that comfort zone, and I get that feeling, that sort of, I hate to say it, but cozy feeling, when you're rereading a book. So I want to reread more, and also I just feel like there are a lot of books that are, they're really brought to life upon a second reading. I found that while I was reading Shakespeare, actually, is that a lot of, the plays that I had read previously during ShakeTube, reading them for the second time, I tended to enjoy them a lot more than I had the first time. And I tended to enjoy them a lot more than the other plays that I was reading for the first time. I found this especially with Macbeth, because, I don't know, you just see a lot more. You don't have to sort of figure out what's going on, I guess. You can sort of see more of the small details that crop up in these works. So I want to reread more, in short, and don't do it as much as I would like to. So anyway, number 10, which book title could easily be the title of your life? And this happens to be a book that I have with me. Why Does the World Exist? And number 11, which book should be required reading for everyone? I'm gonna give a cop-out answer and say that I don't feel the slightest bit qualified to give an answer to this question, both because I'm not well-read enough and just because it kind of feels a bit presumptuous for me to say. So sorry, not gonna give a real answer to that one. But anyway, that was the all about the reading tag, and thank you for tagging me, Miriam. And yeah, anyway, thank you for watching. Bye.